Good day, YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. We brought out the HMS Bounty and put it here in the workshop with the other ships. Now I've got the Cutty Sark in the spare room, but it's in a big case made out of aluminum frame and plexiglass. It's really heavy, and I really didn't have room for it out here, so I do have room for this one though, even though I haven't built a case for it yet. But we'll get it on display anyway. And then the San Juan in the case of that with the lighting, and the Royal Sun. And then we're working on today the San Francisco. Before I look at the San Francisco, I'm gonna turn our lights off on the inside of that cutaway view on the HMS Bounty. Save them batteries. And for those of you who haven't seen we got some lanterns on the back and in the main mast of the Royal Sun. That's hooked to a battery box. So let's go check the eggs. Oh, I just made this morning. Well, my wife put all these jewels on here, a piece of chicken wire. I made the frame for her and got the chicken wire on there, but she made up all these jewels to hang on the chicken wire, and then I mounted it to some legs and a lid to keep the weather off of it. And we're going to put that in the chicken coop as a boredom buster for the chickens. I haven't figured out where I want to put it yet. Maybe over here on this front of this fence. They are always over here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where is number 5? Hopefully she's laying an egg. Oh. Hello, good morning. Are you busy? Uh-huh. Yep. Thank you very much. My wife puts rose petals in here, and they'll eat them. And so, what else is new? Springtime. Vegetable garden. Plants. I need to do a little irrigation on that oak tree where the tree house is. Got some young okras coming up. That cabbage. And we just planted these potatoes a couple weeks ago now, maybe. Everything in here is growing good. We already harvested a little bit of stuff. Got some parsley and mint and thyme. and a bunch of cuttings that we start from scratch. She'll cut off from different trimmings and then root them. We'll take that in when we go to eat breakfast here in a little while. Before I do that though, give her update on the San Francisco. We got the post put in this morning for the second and the third deck. So now I'm ready to put that deck on. And I did have a comment. One of the viewers said, "Oh, you should put that, make that deck where you can take it off and then work on the cannons later on." So that's a good option. I might try that. Yeah, till we put the mast in, there's no reason we couldn't. Other than we've got to run deck, or not deck boards, but we got to run planking on the inside here, which is another good reason not to put that second deck on, or the third deck. And then of course planking on the outside. I got some counterweights in here that just make it more stable while I'm working on it. I did look at trying to use the stands that come with it, and we've really got to have all the planking on the outside before these will work, and a keel. And there's no keel yet, so we're just using these counterweights for now to act as a stabilizer. So yeah, I like the idea of not gluing that down, so we can still do work in here, because there is 4 cannons inside here and 4 cannons up top. So I'm thinking, yeah, we could put all the plank boards on these 2 halves and get them ready to glue on later on. And just not glue them down to the beams yet. I got the post done this morning, and then they want us to glue on the next deck, which obviously is going to make it a little harder to work underneath that deck. And this looks like a keel hull with parts 19, or no, 19 is plank boards. So yeah, after we get that top deck planked and ready to glue on later on, we got to put the planking on the outside of the hull. Sand it down and stain it, and so you know that planking takes forever. So good thing this is a short ship. Oh, and there's the layout for the gun ports. All the positions that we got to cut through the planking for the gun ports. So as you can see, we're going to be busy for a while. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these out of the sheet and plank it with the 1/2 millimeter planks in 2 separate halves and get it ready to glue on later on, because there's no reason we can't leave that off for a little while we work on some of these other steps. When you follow directions, sometimes you get to a point where if you take a shortcut somewhere, you get in trouble. That's sort of what I'm worried about, not gluing this top deck on. But anybody got any ideas or have already built this model before, let me know what you think. Okay, so we did some planking on the outside of the ship. Cutaway. And we didn't install the top deck. I went ahead and put the planking on the top deck on both pieces, and then I'm going to let that dry and then trim the edges, and we'll think about how we install that later while we continue with the build. Do the planking here like it shows in the plans, and might do this in sections so I can get, because the more I put on here, you can see when I make them touch 2 or 3 frames, then the 4th frame wants to jump up, or this middle frame wants to get away from the board. So we're going to have to do this in sections and strap it with rubber bands and let it dry. But that shouldn't take long. As far as planking goes, this is going to be the easiest ship to plank, because we only have this short section, and we're not going to have a whole bunch of slivers and shaping to do like we normally would do. And bending, no bending, other than a little bit we're pulling down on it to make it hug the frames, which is minimal compared to what a regular planking job entails. Lots of bending and shaping and fitting before you can even glue a board on. These are going to go a lot quicker. So we'll let that section dry and then come back and do another section as far as we can and get the rubber bands to grab it. Probably down to here or something. And do the other side at the same time. You can't go too far glue wise without strapping it, because you're going to have glue drying before you get, you know, if I do all the way down to here and then start over here before I strap it, the boards that aren't touching over here, the glue's going to dry before I get, you know, so we got to do a section at a time. Keep them down on there good. Okay, I just did a few more boards on the, well, what side should that be, starboard or port? I don't know which way the bow is. But I did a few more boards here, and then I did a few more boards here. What I can see as I'm doing those that I have to clamp the ends. The rubber band's not quite enough to pull it down to the frame. So I'm going to have to do a few at a time. Let them dry, and then do a few more with the rubber bands in the way to keep it down while I'm going. Makes it a little harder to get the next one on there. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these out. Get them ready to glue on later while we continue planking. Planking's usually the worst job on a ship, other than the little detail work, but it's one of the most aggravating parts of the build because of all the bending and shaping and cutting you got to do to get them to fill in everywhere. And I think by the looks of the picture on the box that we will be putting some thin plank boards over the outside of these plank boards that are here now. So after we dry and trim and sand this, we'll be putting these on sometime in the future to make it look nice. And this goes pretty easy because it's so thin to work with. So, till next time, thanks for watching.